Hello everyone, my name is Sheffrey and welcome back to episode 33 of my Satisfactory Let's Play series. In this video it's part 4 of my cooling systems and aluminum superfactory. Many hours later, I finally have the aluminum up and running with only a few steps left to go. With multiple trains running in and out all the time, belts running all over with thousands of items, this is definitely one of my new favorite builds in the playthrough. Thank you all for the support and help with the series so far. Let's get to playing games. Alright, cooling systems part 4. Anybody bored yet? We are almost towards the end of this build finally. Today is going to be 5,000 bauxite in, some copper refineries, steam copper sheets, coal miners below the factory, and finishing off with some Alclad sheets. It's going to be about time, isn't it? And then in the following episode, hopefully we'll be at the end, you did get to save a whole lot of time of watching me lay down crazy amounts of railroad tracks and also spending 2 days learning how to do train signaling. But it's all kind of set up and running now. I do still have to add in some more of the bauxite to make it 5,000 bauxite in. Also, technically can't do 5,000 bauxite in just yet because we do need those Mark 6 conveyor belts. However, we're going to get as best done as we can today, and I do have 2 of the trains set up ready to go. So I appreciate you guys being back here once again. Let's head on over there and we'll get started. I'll kind of show you guys what we've been working on a little bit. I'll just say what up to Larry, Harry, and Barry over here, see if they got anything good for us. I haven't checked in on them in a while, so what do you boys got for me today? Anything good? We've got some solid biofuel. Okay. We got some rods. Okay. We've got some pulse noblists. All right. Me, I guess. And we're back. Man, this factory is looking packed. And we still have a whole bunch more machines to place down. We've got an area marked out for the rest of our copper refineries today. And then up on that floor above the aluminum refineries, that's where we're going to be putting in some Alclad sheet things. We do have the bauxite coming in here. It is flowing just to keep things at a full maximum. You definitely don't need this many awesome sinks for this, but it just keeps everything flowing. So I do have everything kind of set up. I've got these awesome path signals set up everywhere. Basically, it took me a while to learn the overall basics, but essentially it's you want path signals at all your in all your junctions, in your entrance and your exit. But all your entrances, you want path signals, and all your exits, you want block signals. So that was basically the path or the pattern I followed, going all around everywhere. Not everyone has path signals set up yet, but at least I do have. How many trains are actually running on this line? So here's another one coming in actually. So we got one line for the copper and the coal here, and then I believe there's 4 other trains running on the track right now that are running the bauxite lines. So that would be a total of 5 trains that kind of come through this section right now. I've got them timed out fairly well. It looks like they don't really stop each other too much, I don't think. And if you guys want, at some point, I can always do like a little montage of like riding some trains around. You see all my tracks laid out. You will probably see little bits of it here and there today as we make our way around. I do have, like I said, some of the bauxite hooked up. So we have a bauxite station here. It's bauxite 1, bauxite 2, and bauxite 3. Those ones are all hooked up, ready to go. They're feeding bauxite right now. And then we have bauxite number 4 over here, and that we still have to hook up the miners over here. So right underneath is a pure node, and then there's a normal node here and a impure node over here somewhere. That is the remaining, I believe, 2,000. That's going to be brought over from this section down to here, and then we get 3,000 from this section right here. So big project, still lots of fun stuff to do. Like I said, we're going to start off today. We're going to finish off bringing in this 5,000 bauxite-ish. We're bringing about maybe about half that for now. Well, not quite half. We got maybe about 780 instead of the 1,200. So we're going to be bringing that over, and then we're going to get those copper refineries up onto. Is it this floor or the floor? No, this is the motor floor. Then you come out to the one floor above here. You know what I think we should do today? We should also put on the elevators so that I can stop flying between floors like this. So maybe that'll be the end of the episode today. So here is where we're actually going to have our copper refineries. And then a few floors up, we're going to have actually, where was I going to do the steamed copper sheet? I can't remember how I was going to set these up. So this was basically going to be all taken up by the refineries for the ingots. And then I still need to figure out where I'm actually going to put in the steamed copper sheets. And then as well, on top of that, we're also going to have 40 assemblers set up for the Alclad sheets. So we're doing steamed copper sheets and Alclad sheets. Alright, so on our way over to set up the rest of the bauxite here, as you can see, I've learned how to do the train spirals. So I ended up doing them as a double train spiral. I did see a few people do them as like single train spirals. That's just kind of how I learned, and then I just modified it to be a set up for two. Hope that'll get run over here. So basically the way I learned this is you want to start with a 1 meter platform, then you want to go 3 meters of whatever you want in the middle, and a 1 meter platform on top of that, and then another 3 meters on top of that. And then so for the double one here, I go up basically every other one, and then you go up 5, and then using 1 meter ramps, it just kind of makes it all into like a really nice, tight, perfect circle. And then if you want to do it as a single, which is over here somewhere. So yeah, here's a single. So it's same thing, 1 meter foundation, 3 meters in the middle, 1 meter on top, 3 meters again on top. But for the tight one like this, I end up going, I don't actually skip any. It's basically every single one you go up. And then it creates a nice, perfect, perfect round circle. Now you do end up losing some speed on this one going up, just a tiny bit. But I mean, the same goes for that double one as well. By using the 2 locomotives, I definitely minimize the amount of speed I lose. But anyway, so that is basically bringing all of the 3,000 bauxite that we need over here. And now we just need to go get that other 2,000. So we are going to head on over to my bauxite station 4 over here. It's kind of in the red, sort of in the red forest, sort of not. I guess it still is. So I'll meet you guys over there, and we'll get those miners hooked up, and we'll send the rest of the bauxite over, and we can kind of move on to actually putting the rest of this factory together. So I actually do, here I am in the, oh, there's one of the sand ore nodes. That's actually kind of good to know. We'll suck that up out of there and ship it out on a train. So this train line comes through here, which is actually like a super cool spot. This is actually connected already to the bauxite station number 4. And there is 2 trains that run here already that have 8 cars each. Now, there's no bauxite actually feeding into them yet. So I just kind of spent many hours kind of hooking up the train lines, and it took me a while to get everything over here. So we just kind of skipped over that little boring part of just laying a whole bunch of tracks down. I am moving at the end of the month, but I think once I've moved, maybe some of the stuff I end up doing in between episodes, just to so you guys don't have to see a lot of the boring stuff. I may end up doing some streams on Twitch. So if you guys want to see that, make sure you let me know in the comments down below. I can maybe be a multi-stream on YouTube as well, but I kind of miss streaming on Twitch a little bit. I used to do it a lot back in the day. So here we are over at bauxite station number 4. We have underneath, oh, there's actually my old original aluminum factory. So if you come down underneath here, we have a pure caterium node, which is, or not caterium, pure bauxite node, which is here somewhere. Where was it? Oh, perfect. Here it is, with 5 spitters sitting on top of it. Just waiting. What the hell happened here? All right, well, I'm just going to leave them there for now. They can just hang out for a little bit. So yeah, as you can see, here's 1 train pulling in right now. So we do have 2 trains that come here. It is going to have to move 2,000 items per minute, and it's a pretty long train line. So I figured 2 trains, 8 cars each should work out pretty well for this. Now, the other bauxite that we need to hook up here, let's figure out where these are. Up here somewhere, there should be a normal one and an impure one here somewhere. Okay, so there's the normal 630, and there's the impure 605 meters away. So I'm just going to bring I'm obviously not going to set up another train bringing those all the way over. I think what I'll do, because not much of this space is going to get used for anything, I think I'll just belt them over using my, what are they? The small mover tower. But I'll just do belts only because it's going to be a few belts coming over. Well, hey, look at that. On our way over to the bauxite, I found a crash site. And I think it was cooling systems for openings. Oh god, radiation hurts. Let me just get just far enough away. Oh, that's why, because you got that big rude guy. Yeah, you got that big rude guy there. Let me see if I can just kind of sneak in here and steal this really quick. No, I can't get close enough to actually open the pod. And I do not want to fight him right now, so I'm just going to fly away, and we'll come back to this one a little bit later. Well, I came back to hook up the rest of the belts here so we can get this train up and running. I had to take these guys out, but it turns out a couple of them seem to have just killed each other. So that actually worked out in my favor. I'm just going to take out these last two, I believe. Get out of here. I thought there was 5, though. Where'd the 5th one go? Alright, I don't know where the 5th one went. All I know is I want to get these bauxite lines hooked up so we can get on building this factory. So essentially the way I'm going to have this set up is there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines here right now. So 2 of these are going to get hit by the line of 600 that's coming in. It's going to be a splitter here first. I'll put the splitter right here. And that'll be for those 2. There we go. It's a little tight down here, but we got it. So we got 1 coming out of here. That's the 1200. So that feeds a splitter going into 3 lines. So that'll make 3 lines of 400. Then I'll have a line coming in here. This will be 600 split into 2. So that'll be 2 lines of 300. And then this is just 1 line of 300 here. So you'll have 3 lines of 300 and 3 lines of 400. And that'll go load up into the train line up here. Although I haven't actually hooked these up yet. We're going to have to put in our little buffer system. So we'll throw down our little storage line for each one. So go to organization. We'll go to industrial storage. Pop you in there. Beautiful. So we'll do that for all the train cars along here, and then that'll start loading up the rest of the bauxite that we need for the factory. And then once we eventually get those Mark 6 conveyor belts, which will probably happen in, I don't know, probably only about like 2-3 weeks out from that now, we can come back through and upgrade some of these belts. So basically all I have to do is make this little part right here. It has to be a Mark 6 belt. Alright, just a few minutes of running belts underneath this platform here, and we've got bauxite. I keep wanting to call it Caterium for some reason. We got bauxite now finally loading into trains. So now these are actually going to start loading up with bauxite, so that's going to be good. And then these will start going back down, and that'll start bringing in the almost 5,000 bauxite. I guess I should have adjusted it to the real number, but this, like, once we actually have the Mark 6 belts, we don't have to change the trains or anything. It's just those couple belts for the pure nodes. And then everything should run nice and smooth. I think I should be able to move. I might even be overdoing it with the amount of train cars I have for the amount of stuff I'm trying to move, but I'd rather have, you know, a little bit of extra space on the trains than have to, you know, worry about adding a whole extra train down the line. So I think this should work out pretty nicely. So let's head on back to the factory and we can get started on the copper refineries. Alright, I'm on my way back to the factory, but I also remember that in 1.1 they added the ability to take out crash spots, and it gives you a little bit of extra materials. Doesn't really, like, the materials don't help you late game, definitely helps you early game, but this will also help you remember whether or not you've actually hit up crash sites or not, so you can start actually to delete them. I do want to keep some of them around because I do like the whole idea of, like, having crash ship sites, but anyone that doesn't need to be still on the map, I guess I can start taking out for, make sure I remember I took them out, and also so I don't have to come back to them ever again. Alright, that's pretty much all the trains done for the project now. The only ones we have left to do are going to be the outgoing trains, which would be the actual aluminum ingots, but I'm not going to worry about it for quite some time because I don't even know what some of them are going to, and some of them are going to the fused modular frames build that we obviously haven't started yet, but that's going to be the project coming up after this one. I mean, things we got to start worrying about: fused modular frames, crystal oscillators, although I think fused modular frames pretty much gets us to almost finishing the, like, we'll be able to hand feed some machines to do the space elevator parts. The only one I'll still have to set up manually is the copper powder, because kind of hard to hand feed that one. So I'll probably actually maybe skip the crystal oscillators for now. Maybe we'll go from fused modular frames into the copper powder to make all the stuff we need for the, what is it, the nuclear pasta. And so we'll get those up and running, and then once that's all done, then we can actually finish off. We'll be in tier 9, and then maybe we'll do crystal oscillators because we need those for quite a few things, and there's a bunch of alternate recipes that use them too. Anyway, enough talking. Let's get these copper refineries down. We got them grouped up right over here. We need 20 refineries. That's going to do 720 ingots. And then I need another 12 refineries. That's going to do 400. This all should fit in here. Hopefully, fingers crossed. I think if I do 2 lines of 10, maybe if I can fit them in right here. And then we'll do the other 12 over there. Or, actually, yeah, I think I'll probably fit that way. And then I think I can probably take out this awesome sink. It might be in my way, actually, so I'll probably take it out anyway. Alright, sorry to jump ahead on you guys, but my computer had an absolute stroke trying to put these down. So I was like, well, let me just go ahead and skip ahead to actually having the refineries. I don't know what it was. I was just trying to put them down, and it was just such the lag spike that would happen was crazy. But they are down now. They're not actually fully hooked up or anything. But this group, that is the group 20, this has to make 720, so you're going to clock everybody to not 37.5. That means that didn't carry over. Everybody's going to be clocked at 36, because 36 times 20 is 720. And then for the 400 from the 12 over here, I'm not going to, it will be 33 point through the continuous, like 33.3333. So instead, I left all 10 here in the back. These are all clocked normally. And then these two on the end, 12.5 each. So that should work out. So that'll be 400 total coming from this section, 720 from this section. Now, all we have to do, and this is actually the really easy part, is we're going to be taking the water from here. So we're actually going to take this pipe out for a second. We're going to bring it down a little bit further. And the reason for that is the 520 whatever water we were bringing up for this system is actually enough to fuel the entire thing. We just literally have to turn this into a whole big loop section and everyone can share water together. There we go. One big giant pipe system. That's going to share the water all around every machine. It should flow around properly, especially since these aren't on. The pipes are still going to end up filling up, which is going to be a pretty key part of all this whole thing. So we have extra water flowing in here now, which means all those water pumps from down below should have kicked back on again. And that'll start filling up all in here. You'll actually see water start flowing into machines and everybody. Why are you not oh, because sometimes I forget to connect the little spot together like this. Just like that. And all the water flows around through here. Perfect. Okay, so that is all the water done for the copper refineries. I still actually have to set up the water pumps for the steam copper sheets. I kind of forgot about that one. But this floor is now done. There was definitely no way I was going to fit the steam copper sheets refiners on this floor. Ended up with a little gap here in between, which I could have shoved those over a little bit and then had some more room over here, but not really necessary. So I think it'll work out nicely. The only thing we got to do now is we got to hook up the rest of this copper. And don't forget, we actually can't feed this whole system properly yet because it needs 784 copper. And we can only move 780, which is a bummer. But I mean, to only be off by 4 is really not going to be too big of a deal. Alright, I got copper coming up in here now. So basically all I did was I took from that one line that's coming up there. I threw a splitter on the ceiling right there. So you got some of the line going over to, well, basically we're just feeding all of these refineries all together. And I probably could have made it a little easier if I had just taken the ore from over there and just wrapped it around. But this is probably a little bit easier since the lines are a little bit shorter. So now I've got all my copper kind of coming through here. The only problem is I don't have any of these hooked up so far. Now I'm going to, I believe, let me double check my recipe, and because I think some of these are just going to have to go into a sink for now, just so I can make sure this is up and running. Okay, so this 720, this is actually what's going to be going to the steam copper sheet, and that is going to go, well, can't go on this floor, can't go on this floor because it's the same thing, and can it go on this floor? Do I have the power to get up to this floor? No, I do not. All right, quick answer is yes. Yes, they can go up on this floor. So we'll have our 32 refineries for steam copper sheets that may fit here. We'll kind of see. We'll see how that actually ends up working out. And then over here, so I do have power up here. What hell? We have the area for 40 assemblers. That's going to be on this bottom section here. We'll use stackers, and then we'll do 32 assemblers on top of those for the actual heat sinks. So I think I should hopefully be able to fit the refineries in here. If not, we can always go to the very upper floor, and then we can just add another floor onto the factory. And we can, cool. So we'll just sink the copper ingots for now, so we can actually have this kind of get itself up and running. Because it's got to bring up a whole bunch of the extra copper ore that's coming in. And then I think the water is pretty much filled up in here now. So we'll just keep an eye on this floor to make sure everything's running properly. We can take copper refineries off the to-do list, thankfully. And then now we can do our steamed copper sheets, and our coal miners from down below will help finish off our aluminum here because we're not bringing in enough coal just yet. And then we'll be able to put these together. So basically my plan for mixing these together, this is where it gets a little complicated, but should be pretty easy, is I was thinking of taking, what was it? I needed lines of 900. So 2 lines of 450 would go on either side of this. So in order to make 900, which is a little weird because obviously you get like, where is it? You got 360 coming out of here. However, if you take 360 and you divide it by 2 to give you 180, and then you take 360 times 2, so put 2 of them together, you get 720 plus the 180 from the other one, that's 900. So basically, you're going to want to do 3 together, but one of those 3 is going to want to be split to the other, like, so you combine these 3 together, just as an example, and then you'll have a splitter coming out of this one to make a line of 450 coming out of that one, and then a line of 450 coming out of that one. Okay, well, looking at this right now, and I can pretty much just guarantee you 32 refineries are not fitting on this floor. So we're going to go up a floor. I'm going to take these, we're going to put these up here, and then we're just going to build another floor on top of this for some of the other machines we're going to need, or we'll end up being able to, or we should potentially have room to be able to put them down here, because I think beyond this I only need another 24. Oh wait, no, those assemblers are for the motors. So I think from here, yeah, actually from here all we have to do is the 40 assemblers for the aluminum sheets, the assemblers for the heat sink, and then the blenders for the actual cooling device. So we'll probably still need another floor unless I can get the assemblers and the blenders all on this floor, but I mean, we might be able to make it work. So let's set this to 24 blenders, maybe? Question mark. Okay, so upstairs for the steamed copper sheets it is. So we'll actually put them, actually maybe I should start from this side, because I need 30, if I need 32, and I'm pretty sure I can, have rows of 10 in here. What we could do is we could do 3 lines of 10 and then just do the extra 2 just off to the side. Or I could do 40 and then just really downclip, but I don't really want to do that. I think I'll just do the 32, and then because I'll put them on this side because the water's coming up from this side anyway. Actually, maybe it's not. I guess the water's for this one will probably be coming up maybe this back side over here. So I guess actually it's fine to start them over here. So we'll mark out a little space to do, let's get some power up here really quick. All right, power's up here now. So let's grab our asphalt foundations. We know kind of where we want to build these from. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's enough for the blueprint. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's basically our blocks for the refineries that I'm going to start with, just so I know where these are going. So I don't actually have a steamed copper sheet one, so I'll just use the copper refineries and then I'll just manually change this. It's just 32, so it's not that big of a deal. So let's get these in here. Like I said, 3 groups of 10. So we'll do the way we've been doing it all along. We'll put in our 4. That's 8. And then we'll grab our 2, which is just this one. If I can get it to actually snap together. There we go. Then you just have to connect your pipes up like that. Same thing for that one. And then, so I'm just going to make 3 groups of 10, and then an extra 2. Looks like I'll have the space for those extra 2 here on the very end, which should work out pretty easily. Alright, I don't know what happened or why I was doing it again. It must be something to do with the blueprints, because anytime I'm trying to put down groups of blueprints now, the game just basically gives up. It stutters really hard, so I'm hoping that's just something to do with experimental, and as things kind of get put together a little bit better for the final version, maybe things will stutter a little bit less, because it almost seems like it's going to crash every time, and then it doesn't, thankfully, because I'd probably cry a little bit inside. But it at least does work. So at least, you know, keep that in mind. If you are going to play an experimental, things may be a little weird. All right, everyone's been changed over to copper sheets now, so those are all set up ready to go. And there should be no underclocking required here because we just did all 32. So we can leave that set up the way it is. This is going to feed the heat sinks that are actually one floor below, and it's going to be feed as 720. So basically, what we can do is I'll put a merger out off the end of our extra 2 here in the middle. Oh, almost lost power there for a second. I'll put it right here, stack it up like that. So we'll put one of those in there, and the other ones can come around to the other mergers. We'll have to add in some little lifts going on down, or not lifts, some support beams going through there. And that'll be the 720. That'll go to, like I said, to the heat sinks. And this is all going to get fed by, is it a 1-to-1 ratio? It is a 1-to-1 ratio, so 22.5. So that means we're going to be bringing 720 up and then putting 720 out. So I can actually link all of these together and feed it as one giant conveyor system. But I think what I'll do is I'll just stick a splitter down here on the back side, the feeder end here. I'll put a splitter in right here. Actually, here, I'll put the splitter in right here. Maybe about right there. And then we'll wrap that one around like that. This one can go over here like this. This one goes in this side. And that way I can still link these up for my little water loop system as well. And then we'll get a little conveyor floor hole in right there. A lift. That'll bring in my 720 copper ingots, which is going to come from the refineries a couple floors down. It's a little annoying. I'm going to have to bring things all the way up and then put them back down again. But, I mean, just a little bit poor planning on my part. Alright, I mean, that part was pretty simple. It's pretty much straightforward, and it's all done now. So the only thing I'll have to do is maybe do a little bit more decorating up here. And like I said, I'll add a floor in over top of this, because we're possibly going to need some more space for the blenders. Although I'm thinking, even if I couldn't get 24, I feel like I can definitely get 24 blenders in this section through here. I may have to stack them. I think I can probably stack blenders, right? They're not that tall. Let me go to... Let me see how tall blenders are. Oh yeah, you can easily stack blenders. Okay, so we'll probably do the blenders all down there, and then this upper floor will basically just be the last little bit of copper that we needed. So we were pretty close on room, just off by a little bit. So we got our loop system of water. Everything's going to feed into this awesome sink for now, just so we can actually have things up and running. So let me go ahead and get the things up here that we need. So we need to bring up some water. And the total water we need for this one is another 720. How about that? So we're going to have to bring up 2 pipes for this one. So that's actually going to be pretty easy. I think I'll bring them up, like I said, from this back side so that we're not cutting over my little ramp system that I have set up here. So we'll bring 2 pipes up the back here, and then we'll be able to feed them into here. So I think maybe what I'll do is I'll feed... 1 pipe can go in there. Actually, here's what I can do. So I'll go 1 here. We'll go like right in the... We'll go in the middle-ish. So I'll line it up with maybe this junction right here. Like the middle of this foundation. And then we'll go to... So what was that? About 2? About 2. And then to go to this one. So it'll be right in about the middle of this foundation. All I want them to be... Just realized I want them to actually be facing upwards. I'll have to redo this one. There we go. That should allow the system to share the 720 water that it's going to use without getting too clogged up or anything. So let's get those hooked up. And then so 720 divided by 120 means, oh, perfect. I actually need exactly 6 water pumps. So I'll probably put them on this back side here so that there's just less pipes kind of going around. So I'll add in a little section like that with 6 pumps, and then we'll put the pipes up the side. Beautiful. We got water. They got 6 pumps down there. They're all hooked up. And yes, it took many a pumps to get the water all the way up here. But as you can see, it's just starting to make its first way up through there. And then we should see our first little bit in here as well. Let me just check the head lift on these ones. These ones might be a little too high. That one is going to go up to over what we can do. Okay, so both of these are going to need another pump right about here. There we go. Last set of pumps are in. That'll guarantee the water comes in through here. And then that should split properly, going all around here, feeding all these machines. None of these are hooked up to power yet, and obviously we also don't have the copper ingots coming up here yet. But that means all we got to do is hook up the 720 from our refineries that we just did for the copper refineries down there. We'll hook that 720 up to here, and then we can hook all this up to get it going, and then the sheets will flow into that sink right there, pending that this all works. And I'm as smart as I think I am, but you know, never know what's going to happen. So that'll take steam copper sheets off the to-do list. The only thing, like I said, let's jump ahead. We'll get the those 720 ingots hooked up. We'll get these hooked up to power and flowing, and then we can jump onto the coal miners down below. And then pretty soon we're going to have those Alclad sheets up and running. Okay, here we are down below in our little system here. So we've got 2 impure coal nodes over here, and you've got 2 normal nodes over here. One is right there, then the other one is up here on the little mound. So basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to take that and I'm going to send it down to mix it, or not going to mix it together. Essentially I want 3 lines of 600 coming from here, which is perfect. So you got 1, 2, and 3. And then those are going to go onto these belts right here that are lifting us up onto our unloading floor, which has changed a little bit. We do have a few of the belts running here, so this is going to handle all the coal. This is the 5 stack of coal lines right here, so 5 stacks of 600. And then you have all of the bauxite lines over here, which are not hooked up yet. This bauxite line right here is colored reddish. That's going to be a 200 line, but everyone else is going to be 600. And then, so eventually there's obviously going to be quite a bit of load balancing probably going on down here once I actually figure out how much bauxite is coming into each of these unloaders right here. So I did leave myself at least a little bit of room down here to add in some load balancing if I need to. Hopefully it shouldn't be too bad, and it should be able to feed the system pretty evenly. And then we've got all our coal coming in here. So these are coming in from the trains. I've got just overflowing into the awesome sinks here for right now. But we've got things kind of loaded up onto here, and then so that's going to take, I think it's 6 lines of coal coming in via train. And that's going to, eventually you're going to take those 6 and turn them into 2. And then you're going to mix that with the 3 lines here to give you 5. So let's go ahead and get those miners set up, and we're pretty much ready to turn on the aluminum production at least. So I do have, as you guys remember, I do have the awesome sinks up there for taking in the aluminum ingots. So we're going to get those turned on, and then after we do that, we can finally do the Alclad sheet assemblers, and then we'll finally be done the episode. How about that? I'm just going to get some miners set up down here. They're all going to be Mark III, so thankfully I have some supercomputers and stuff in my inventory.
Have you calculated the necessary power?
I mean, no, but I have more power than you'll ever need in this game, so it's definitely never going to be a concern of mine, Ada. Thanks a lot. There we go. I mean, that's pretty straightforward. So you got 600 coming down there, 600 coming from those 2 combined together over there, and then now I just need to come up here and connect this one. And why couldn't this whole project be this easy? So we're going to come up here, we're going to get this miner hooked up on here, on this node. There we go, top node done. Sorry, someone decided to do yard work as soon as I put that down. So we got that hooked up. Now this is going to be set to 600 with the overclock. That one is all overclocked as well. So that is the coal miners from down below done. That'll give us 1,800 coal coming up from this lower section here. I might fill this in a little bit more and make it a little bit more pretty. So the thing I like the most about this when you're coming down here from like the offloading floor is basically just this this stairway section that I built right here. It's just a double, kind of a grand staircase where you can I need railings on that side. So you can kind of come up here takes you right to the unloading floor. And then if you want to go down to the water pump section, as well as now is also partly the coal mining sections. You got coal miners and the water pumps down here to come check out. I think this is turning into a pretty cool build. I haven't done anything like super aesthetic wise like this in a long time. I mean, like I've done the copper and the iron factory where I actually built the shells of them. But I didn't quite do as much of a crazy interior as I'm doing on this one. So I think this will look pretty cool. We'll probably do a little bit more as we go through. I thought maybe I could put like some sort of like, I don't know, statue or something here, or maybe just some extra trophy. Can you buy more than one trophy of things just so you can like decorate your world? Maybe you can. I don't know. If I can, I'll probably just stick some extra random trophies there. Alright, with the coal miners done then, I think it is now time to hook up the... because these actually aren't being fed yet, they're just going into the sinks. So I think I'll actually hook the bauxite up to these lines. So it'll start sending it up to the aluminum production, and then we'll go kick all the aluminum production on. And I'm going to feel really good finally about getting a big part of this project done. Basically, all I have to do is come up to this floor, take out all these sinks right here, and hook up all the holes through here, and this will be good to go. There you go. Man, that's also just a whole lot cleaner now. So now all the bauxite is going to be flowing out of the train stations in 2 lanes each one. So it'll be quick. It'll be filling all this section up incredibly fast. Seems I missed a connection here. There it is right there. So that one goes to there. Now these should all be heading upstairs. I'll just check the lines coming up the top here. Yeah, there we go. You can see all the bauxites coming up. We still have one empty one. So what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we still have one bauxite that's not hooked up apparently. Oh, it is hooked up. I guess we're just waiting for, like, this bauxite didn't have any left. It all went into the sink. So we're just waiting for one of those bauxite trains to roll up with some of this bauxite here. And then so now I can come up top here. And then actually I'll probably just skip ahead to the next day because I mean it gets quite dark through here. And then we can actually fire on all of our, no, this is copper production. We can fire on all of our aluminum production up here. So while I wait for a time to pass in the night, I'm going to hook these all up to power because they're all red. No one is actually getting power right now. But we do have all of our bauxite flowing up. So we got the, how many lines? I think 4 of the 9 lines go to this, this floor right here. Another 4 go all the way up to this floor right here. And then the 9th one, that's like the 200, that goes to those downclocked ones between this one and the other floor. Alright, new day, and aluminum is up and running for the most part. It's not 100% efficient right now because, well, we're also not bringing in 5,000 bauxite per minute at the moment, so that doesn't really make the biggest difference in the world. But I am running things all the way through the whole section now. Everything's kind of feeding through. You got aluminum ingots coming out here. Some of them are just going to end up going to the awesome sink for a while anyway until we get the rest of it figured out and where it's going to go. Because 1800, like I said, is going to go to the fuse, or maybe a little more. I might bump up the fuse modular frames output. We'll see. But either way, I'm pretty happy to see this up and running. I couldn't tell you if it's 100% efficient yet because, well, there's really no way of telling. But I mean, we'll probably find out within a couple weeks or so if it is 100% efficient. It definitely works for sure. As you can see, the aluminum ingots starting to flow through. The only other thing I need to figure out is now where the Alclad sheets are going to go. And luckily we have those kind of marked out up here for a little spot for these to go. We need a total of, I think it was 40 of them. So quite a handful, but I think we should be able to fit them all in here. And then if I use the stacking blueprint, I can kind of stack them on top of each other. So it'll probably be like, actually, can I just fit like a whole 40 in here? Maybe I can. So 40 assemblers for Alclad Aluminum Sheets. Let's see if we can get it to fit. So we're going to go to blueprints, my assemblers. This is going to be done in 10. So I'll do 2 3s and 2 2s. Just there's a little bit less hooking things up I need to do. And then I'm assuming I left myself a little bit of space here. I'll start this on 1 input in so that we have a little extra edge for bringing things up and down without crossing over our 1 single pathway here. So we got 1 there. Then we'll go 2. Should be able to fit 4, hopefully. There you go. My bad. They're actually supposed to be facing this way. Not, they don't go, I was facing them the other way before. So they actually go across like this. And then, so there is our first 10. And then, so I should be able to grab this piece right here. That'll be another group. So that's 2, 3, and then hopefully I should be able to fit 4 in here. Perfect. That's exactly what we're going for. So now I just got to fill in this first bottom floor, and that will be... Actually, yeah, that's all 40. I don't know where we'd be without blueprints, but it'd probably be 24 to 30 hours behind where we currently are right now. Because, man, this is so much faster. Now all I got to do is hook up these belts through here. And then I need to hook this up to power. And that is our Alclad Aluminum Sheets done. And I don't have these set because I never really bothered to make these ones. So let's see how many of these are going to be putting out. So 30 per minute, so that's going to be 300 from each line. So I can grab 2 together. So let's just go 2 awesome sinks. And that should be enough for how everything's going to go for now. So I put 1 here in front of this merger. And then 1 in front of this one over here. We grab a bonus merger. Okay, and fun fact, there's no underclocking or overclocking required here either. These can all just be set to just the normal Alclad aluminum sheets, 30 per minute. It should be perfect. So then we just have to bring over the aluminum ingots from over there. It's a total of, what is it? 1,200 actually. So technically it could just be 1 Mark 6 conveyor belt bringing it over. So what I'll actually do is I'll plan ahead for that, since we can't move. We won't be making that many aluminum ingots right now anyway. I'll plan ahead for that, and basically what I'll do is I'll put a splitter like right about, we'll say about right here. And then we'll put 1 here. And then 1 here. And then the bottom section can all be the aluminum ingots. Wow, English is so hard sometimes. Yeah, I figured it made the same sense to do it for the top one as well. So now you got lift coming up here. This will bring up the, either or. So you can have aluminum ingots coming up 1 and your copper ore, or your aluminum ingots coming up 1 and copper ingots coming up the other. And so I'll just get all these hooked up, hook these out to power, and then we'll hook them up from down below. And once this is up and running, we can go, good job, Sheffrey. And then we can finally bring this episode to a close. And is this project almost done? Well, we're getting there. All we have left to do is the heat sinks. We're going to be bringing in the nitrogen gas. And then we actually have to put together the blenders. I think I was planning on putting the blenders right about here. So I'll have to put in all the blenders as well. And then I think the heat sinks are going to get stacked on top of here. So I'll have to leave some, actually, that's good. We have some room here as well. So we can add in some more lifts in here because we'll need to bring the stuff up for that. But once the heat sinks are done, once these things are done, and once those blenders are done, this factory will finally be done. And then we can actually move on to doing the fused modular frames. And then once we're done the fused modular frames, we can do the copper powder for the, the nuclear pasta. And then we can finally finish tier 9, hopefully, or tier 7 and 8, and then we'll be going into tier 9 is what I meant to say. Alright, I definitely had to switch it to feeding from above because getting those belts under this floor just would have been a bit of a mess. Things are starting to cross over each other quite a few on some of the floors and some of the ceiling belts that I've been doing, just because there's so many belts that actually need to move across the floors. But man, does this factory ever look super cool. I really like it. So I hope you guys are enjoying it too. I think it's definitely one of the cooler aesthetic builds I've done in a while. Like I was saying, I know we did the cool things for the copper and the iron, but this one just has so much to it. There's so much movement. There's so many trains that are actually working now. There's so many belts of items moving around. I think it looks really cool. So that is pretty much bringing us to the end of today's episode, as that is our Alclad sheets now coming out of here. As you can see coming out through here, we are feeding them into the awesome sink here for now. So these Alclad aluminum sheets are going to get mixed with the copper sheets, and I think also the nitrogen gas. Let me double check this. Oh, no, sorry, now I remember. So it's copper sheets and Alclad aluminum sheets. Those go up here, that's actually perfect, to make the heat sinks. So we'll just bring copper sheets up from down below. And then those heat sinks are going to mix together with the nitrogen gas that we're going to bring in next time. And then that's going to mix with the motors that we made all the way back in part 1 of this whole series. We're going to get those motors. We're going to bring those up here. And then so it's motors, nitrogen gas, and heat sink doing the alternate recipe of cooling device, or cooling systems, technically it's called. So hopefully this all kind of makes sense as it comes together. So yeah, we're going to put heat sink assemblers. We're going to go up top. Blenders, we should be able to fit 24 blenders going through here. We may have to stack them, even if we do that's not that bad because the liquid is just nitrogen gas anyway. And then we got the motors coming up that'll mix into here, and then we'll be done. We're so close. I appreciate you guys being here for one more. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. I think only like 35% of people that are watching are actually subscribed, so that's like almost 70% of you that aren't subscribed yet. So please do, really help support the channel. Leave a like, leave a comment down below, maybe come hang out in the Discord, and I'll see you guys for the next one.